And you all know Joe. Say thank you to all of you for being here, especially Mayor Pinkerton. Thank you for joining us. We talked at the Mahoning County Health Department back a month ago, maybe, about all of this that was happening in Sebring, and what the response has been, and the mayor's response was right. The county health department's response was right. The operator and the EPA's response obviously was less than adequate, and that's what we're going to talk about. Ruth Ann House, who is behind me. Ruth Ann is the director of something called WSOS, which is not a radio station, although everybody thinks that, right? Correct. Heard that enough. Stands for Wyandotte, Seneca, Ottawa, and Sandusky. I don't know if I had the Seneca and Sandusky in the right order. Wood, not Wyandotte, Wood, I'm sorry. And it's a community action agency that runs RCAP. Sherry Luce has joined us from RCAP, and thanks for the work that they do. Rural Community Assistance Program. And Tony Logan, longtime friend with U.S. Department of Agriculture, and today with their Rural Development Office. And Tony grew up in Orwell, right?
Trumbull County.
Trumbull County, yeah. I knew you were Kinsman, not Orwell, Kinsman. Sorry about that. Flint, Michigan's not the only town where families face exposure to dangerous lead levels. For the past several months, families in Sebring have faced serious questions about whether their drinking water is safe. No parent should have to worry about the water coming out of their tap, out of their faucets, that they might be poisoning their children. No pregnant woman should face the prospect of what high levels of drinking water could do in her tap water. That's why we're announcing today more than $400,000 in emergency federal funding. This is a grant, not a loan. Sebring will not have to pay this back, nor will the residents of the Sebring area have to pay it back. $400,000 to the village of Sebring to upgrade water systems and help cover the cost of bottled water. Number one goal in Sebring is to make sure the water is safe. That's what Mayor Pinkerton has fought for. That's what this community has fought for. This funding will help us do that. The funding comes from the USDA's Rural Developmental Emergency Community Water Assistance Program. It will be used to purchase and install a new system to help detect lead in the water almost immediately, water sooner, and will release a chemical that prevents lead from contaminating our water in the first place. It affects the pH levels of acidity, a solution that would counteract that, which would mean, if I have this right, which would mean that the lead then wouldn't leach into the drinking water. The village has already spent more than $70,000 responding to this crisis, including buying bottled water. These federal funds will help the town both cover its expenses and prepare for the future, as we should do. So March 15th, the most recent water samples were below the allowable safe lead limits of 15 parts per billion, but too many samples before that came back with dangerous lead levels. We simply can't take chances with our children's health, pure and simple. That's why our office called the CDC in January when this story broke. When we first learned about the crisis, it's why Congressman Ryan got involved right away. We asked them to verify blood tests and provide support for the community. In the legislation we're working on would do a number of things. It would require that any community that finds out the lead levels are unsafely high, that they immediately report that. It would require that the state government and federal government come up with a plan immediately, sort of an interim plan to make sure that there's enough bottled water and enough technology to change in a short-term way what needs to be done to ensure the public health, and then a longer-term investment in how you really fix this. No parent should ever have to fear for her children's drinking water. Something pretty obvious, but something absolutely essential. Congressman Ryan.
Let me first thank Senator Brown for his leadership on this and so many issues for our community in Washington, D.C., and whether it's bringing money back or hitting the legislative side or the administrative side with things that need to get done to protect our residents here. Sherrod Brown's always the first one to pick up the phone and make the call. Senator Schiavoni, thank you for your leadership. Ruth Ann, thank you. Mayor, you run for office, you never are quite sure what issues are going to pop up, and I'm sure you never dreamed that this issue would pop up, but we want to thank you for your leadership and how you've handled this. And Tony, Trumbull County boy.
There you go.
He's just been a phenomenal leader on so many issues in the state of Ohio, and we're just really proud that he's from the Mahoning Valley and stepped up to bat to help us here. I just want to make, one or two points. As Senator Brown said, this is a heart-wrenching situation when you see what many families have to go through, and then you see that because of some things that need to get done in our country, you are actually shifting the trajectory of kids' lives because of what's going to be needed for their health, for their education, and all that's to come. And it costs us more money to end up dealing with these problems in the long run. And in this issue here in Sebring, what's happening in Flint, we also read about what's happening in Cleveland. We have a level of deferred maintenance in this country that's unacceptable. And it's deferred maintenance on some of the essential aspects of our society, clean water, making sure our communities are safe, and that deferred maintenance can't go on any longer because the costs of deferred maintenance are so high at this point that we all need to say as a society this is unacceptable. And that's why we're here today. I hope this is a small down payment on what is needed, not only in Sebring, but across the country, across Ohio, where we've got to reinvest and rebuild the country. I mean, it's that simple. No one's done anything wrong. No one has misjudged. It's just our country's infrastructure is getting old, and we need to dig up these old pipes and put in new ones. And we need to rebuild our roads and our bridges and everything else. But when it starts getting to the point where it's affecting small kids and families and pregnant moms in communities, in small communities like Sebring, cities like Flint and Cleveland and others, it's time for us to act. So I hope this is a call to action, not just to address what's happening here in Sebring, but making sure this doesn't happen anywhere else around the country.
Tony.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tony Logan. I'm the State Director of the USDA's Rural Development Agency here in Ohio. I want to start by calling out John Miller, who's also with USDA, as Area Director out of our Massillon office. John, thanks so much to you and your staff for helping us put this together. USDA touches all Americans' lives in a lot of ways every day, and perhaps this is one that will be certainly germane to the folks in this township, of this village. But we also, for example, we do a lot of work for farming and ranching, as you all know, but we also deliver the nutrition programs for the country, SNAP, WIC, school lunch. We provide inspection services that ensure a safe food chain from all the way from farm to table. But the program that we're talking about today, and the one that brought us here to Sebring, is the Rural Utility Services Water Infrastructure Program. And we're thrilled today to have Senator Brown and Representative Ryan here to join us in this announcement of a $404,000 grant for a number of services, including the installation of a new technology orthophosphate feeder system that will hopefully monitor pH levels in the water system, and then if they become out of tolerance, it will immediately begin feeding phosphate into the water system, which should provide cleaner water to the household taps. And for this reason, we're happy to be part of this through USDA. None of us this happens without the strong support from our representatives in Congress and the Senate. So thank you so much for being here today, and Senator Schiavoni, appreciate the work you've done, and RCAP. And with that, we're thrilled to be here and part of this announcement today. And I'd like to ask to Mayor Pinkerton, I just promoted you to governor, to come up and say a few words.
Oh, thank you.
Sure.
I would like to take a few minutes to thank some people. The ensemble of people that are here today probably don't know each other very well, but they all pulled together in their own fashion and created a team that within 30 days has pretty much pulled us out of a real mess. There has not been a week gone by that I have not heard from Senator Brown's office, Senator Schiavoni's office, Representative Bocherry's office, in what we can do. And Senator Brown, you were correct. When we met in Youngstown, we had a few minutes just to talk, and you asked me what was the most important thing you could do right now. And my response was, send money. And you've come through, sir. Very, very, very adequately. It's a shame that the problem existed. I don't think that the village of Sebring could offer enough apologies, but there is a bright spot here, and that is it brought to the surface a problem that many people didn't even know existed. We have a number of school districts that have had to shut down their water supply, their drinking fountains, individual articles or appliances because of lead contamination. And those folks, that's dealing with our children. So let's hope that because of the efforts of this group, and I can't overlook our staff here, our manager, the 4 ladies that we have as an office staff here work tirelessly, hours upon hours through weekends and evenings and everything else to make sure that the word got out properly, make sure that we were trying to be in compliance with the Ohio EPA